This is my okay, nice.
It's time for the C6R5 Navia thing. I don't even really want to call it a showcase, but it's been a trend that I try and solo Abyss with all the C6R5 characters, and up until this point it's always been a success. I think Navia is going to be our first fail though, because she really kind of needs a team. She has no self-sustain and she literally needs a teammate to give her stacks to make her skill stronger, but we are still going to try. First things first, gotta refine this bad boy to R5, just doubling the values here so we get 40% attack instead of 20 and up to 72% elemental skill damage instead of 36. She is already C6, of course. We discussed all of her constellations in the raising mode. Best, of course, being C6, massive amount of crit damage being tacked onto her skill, and the fact firing a 6-stack skill actually only uses 3 stacks. We also got a triple crown her, of course. Again, all of her skills are important, her skill the most so. I did halfway change my mind. Maybe her basic is slightly more important than her burst still, because her burst really doesn't do a ton of damage, honestly, but her basics actually can do a lot after using skill, which will be very important when trying to solo with her. Level 13 skill here with an insane 839 multiplier on it. We will of course try teams in this video as well because she really kind of needs a team, but I'm gonna at least try soloing first. Her artifact build is very similar to raising mode. We're still going golden troop because we don't have her signature set yet. This is gonna be a disaster. She's also squishy because she's not def or HP scaling, and she has no way to heal herself. So every hit we take in here will be permanent. Oh yeah, and we have to go through the early stages. I'll keep this short though. If I have any trouble with 9, 10, or even 11 on a
Hey, Traveler. Remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, he just got back from Inazuma. So how about we tell them what we learned?
What you are about to see is not the typical wishing experience. Do not spend money in the hopes of getting equivalent or even comparable luck to what you will see here. Always plan for the worst case scenario. Viewer discretion is advised. 5 pity, my account, looking for Sijuin. Are we skipping? No, because we're looking for Gaming. We're looking for Gaming constellations. We need 2 more. Hey, there's 1. Holy moly, that's a lot of primo. I know. Okay, we got 1 Gaming. I think we just need 1 more to get C6. And then we can start skipping the 4 stars because I have the other 4 stars already. I love Gaming. He's so good. He is good. Yeah, he's good. Noel, that was not good. My figures are from mostly AliExpress. The Kaching one is official. I have my figure reviews in the description of my videos for which figures are worth it. Hey, there's our Gaming. The Kaching one is official? Yeah, exactly. I've got an official that I pre-ordered. I also have an official Hu Tao coming that I pre-ordered. I'm so excited for the Hu Tao. The Hu Tao is insane. Okay, we're gonna skip again. Another Noel. Because we already have C6 Noel, so now it's just... I already have C6 of all of those 4 stars. So we're just gonna skip. Pain Slasher. Yeah, that would have been a painful one to go through. Official, say it 5 times. No you. Ooh, Rosaria. Double Rosaria. Kind of hot. Alright, let's do this. I think this should be Siegewian right here. I think this is it. Yep, there it is. There it is. Can we win the 50-50? There she is.
Don't be nervous. I'm Nurse Seedween from the Fortress of Maripede. Let me take a look at you. Any pain here?
We don't lose.
What about here? Oh, you're not here for a checkup? Well, that's great news.
We don't lose. Bro, I haven't lost like a 50-50 in so long, bro.
Okay? We don't want anything happening to you.
It's a nice splash art, I'll say that. Hopefully I don't get a double. Or at least if I do, that it's not another Siegewian. Because that would be like, gonna be a double Enjoy Your C1 Siegewian, yeah. Weapon, thank you so much Jennifer, thank you so much Antonio. Oh my gosh, another one. Thank you for Thirst Much with the 5. Incredible, okay. Let's see the early, nope. Oh, our first Lithic Blade. Drop them racks, thanks X-Void. Appreciate you guys. Okay, that's 2. We're gonna use the rest. This is 3. That works so well. Yeah. This is 3. Favonius Lance. I think I actually have enough. And this is 4. Alright. That makes up for 5 pulls. 5-10 pulls. Okay. Already at C6. Thirst Much. Might as well. You're awesome. The absolute hero of the stream. Here we go. Nope. This should be it right here. We're looking for Splendor. There it is. What will the 5-star be? What do you think, guys? Will it be the Splendor or the little bow? Don't give money for games, pointless. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Splendor or bow? Kale, Hog. Splendor or bow? Be Splendor. Yeah, we never miss, bro. We never miss, bro. We just don't miss. Wishing for Alf. 54. 64. 64. A little bit early. That's a little bit early. Can we win with a little bit early? Since the invention of the internet and people's constant search for truth, the world is now completely free of misconception. No, it's not. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. And today, we're going to talk about the top 5+1 misconceptions in Genshin Impact. Number 1 is the wishing system, and specifically people's advice for it. They tell you don't build pity. Well, I'm going to tell you that there's 2 kinds of building pity. The bad kind is where you just have no self-control. You're waiting for the Archon, so you put a few wishes on this banner because you can't wait, and you're like, I'm building pity for the Archon, and then you get an early Nouvelette, and you're like, man, now I can't get the Archon. That's the bad kind of building pity.
Okay.
The good kind of building pity is you're like, well, I don't really want Nouvelette. I kind of do, or I do. I kind of want Hu Tao, but I don't like really want her, so I don't want to like wish for her, but I really need a copy of Xingqiu and a copy of Fischl. And you're on your 50-50, and so you put 10 or 20 or 30 extra wishes to try and get and just snag a copy or 2 of those characters. And if you don't get them, you stop, no big deal. And if you do get them, then great, you got some great 4-stars and you have built pity for the next banner. And if you get an early copy of a 5-star, like an early 5-star, there's a 50% chance it won't even be the on-banner character, and now your next character is guaranteed. And if you do get them, it's only 10 or 20 wishes, and just make sure if you do this that you do at least kind of want the 5-star, that you at least would build them if you got them, that it wouldn't be a total waste. This isn't number 2 yet, but while we're on the subject of the pity system, there's a little bit of misconception about when the pity actually starts. I see so many people talk about how, you know, hard pity is at 90, which is true, and soft pity starts at 75. It actually starts at 74. So if you're wishing right up to that 74th wish, just be very, very careful. Like if you're building, I really don't recommend building pity up to that high, but be very careful when you get to the 74th wish, because that is actually when soft pity starts, and every wish after that gets more and more likely to get a 5-star. I think the majority of the time you get one at either 78, 79. The final one is a question I'm going to put out to you guys, and that is, does early pity exist? I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure it's more likely to get a 5-star in the first 10 or 20 or even 30 wishes than it is to get from 30 to 74. But I actually don't know for sure if this is actually something that we're pretty sure is true, or if that's a misconception. And despite my research, I have not been able to get conclusive proof. So let me know if you have it. Number 2 is the idea that you should always go for new characters instead of getting constellations or weapons. Of course, if you're brand new, the most important thing is to make sure you get your favorite characters. Until you have your favorite characters, and I would argue you have some great teams for those favorite characters, you should prioritize new 5-stars. But once you do, you can take a look at your account and say, hey, what do I need more of? Do I not have enough Favonius Lances? And do I want a Homa for my Hu Tao? Do I have a Catalyst that can use this? Because if you enjoy the combat system, it can really improve your quality of life to have a few 5-star weapons, to have a low constellation for your favorite character. It can make the game more fun, and that's what the point of the game is. If it can also be more fun to get a new character and to try a new playstyle, that can be more fun too. You have to determine what's going to be the most fun thing for you. It could be that a really good weapon banner that has, you know, Favonius Sword, Favonius Lance is just going to enhance your account so much. Plus, like, you know, in this scenario, you also want both of the 5-star weapons. It could really enhance the fun you have on your account by wishing on the weapon banner. But don't think it's so simple just to say, oh, always go for new characters, because it's very easy, and tons of people have this experience. They just have a backlog of 5-star characters that you can't build. It's like having a backlog of video games that you never play, or a bookshelf with tons of books that you have that you've never had time to read. It can be more worth it to vertically invest in your favorites than to just keep getting more and more 5-stars, especially if you don't care about them. But if you're a collector, you know, that's a totally different thing. It just depends on how you want to play and how you have fun. Number 3, they say you need a DPS character or just a character of every single type. This is an idea sort of left over from other JRPGs or other turn-based systems or things like that, where it's very valuable to have every single type built. And don't get me wrong, it's nice to always have the elemental check that's good for the Abyss. And I think that there are certain elements that are especially good to have. So for example, having someone like Nahida, sometimes they have those Hydrolectors in the Abyss. These guys are super cringe, and it used to be that cryo was the best element to deal with these, but now actually good dendro application is by far the best way. These guys just melt the dendro application. And actually currently, with the way that the current bosses are in the game, you actually don't need a cryo character at all. So cryo is actually an element that you can skip. I'd say that hydro is an element that you don't want to skip out on, especially in Fontaine. They seem to be releasing a lot of pyro shields, so having a hydro character, Yelan or Xingqiu or Novelet, are really worth building. It's just for their type. Electro is one that I could go 50-50 on. It is really nice to have Electro for something like the algorithm of semi-intrinsic matrix of Overseer network, but I think it's more likely that you're just going to end up building an Electro character because they're strong, whether it be Raiden, whether it be Kuki, whether it be Fischl. You're going to be building an Electro character, so I don't think you really need to focus on, you know, getting an Electro character, because more than likely you're going to be building a Fischl to support just like your account overall, because she's such a splashable sub DPS, and Kuki and Raiden are so good in Hyper Bloom. Raiden has a bunch of other good teams, so more than likely, because you don't really need Electro just to deal with that boss, but you're probably going to be having Electro regardless. For Geo, well, it can be nice to have a Geo character in the ranks for something like the Golden Wolf Lord. Even an Ing Wong with Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer can give you enough Geo to take care of it and then just support your attacker if you have a 3-man core like Hu Tao or Hyper Bloom or something, or a splashable character like Zhongli or Yun Jin can also be enough. And even using high elemental application characters like Xingqiu and Nilu's skill are actually able to deal with it without even needing a Geo on your team, which is something that people don't realize. So there's a lot of ways to overcome elemental checks without actually needing to build a character of every element, especially you don't need a DPS character of every element. If you want to get, you know, some off-field elemental application of every type, I think that might be a better goal, but you definitely don't need a DPS of every type. Animo itself is not an element that you need to build, but the specific utility that something like Kazuha or Sucrose or Venti provides is how strong that their grouping is. So you don't need to focus on, I need an Animo animo character. I see this all the time for new players. Oh, I'm gonna get Wanderer because he's animo and I don't have an animo. I'm gonna build Jean because I don't have an animo. It's not really animo that's good, and it's really the utility that they provide, the grouping, the buffing. Similar, it is really nice to have a pyro for those cryo lectors, and it is very valuable. You can get away with electro for those cryo lectors, but I think that just having someone like Bennett is so valuable because of how strong he is. So basically what I'm saying is, if you build strong teams and you build out your strong characters, you don't need to worry about having a character of each specific element, and you're going to be better off just building strong, solid cores for your characters rather than trying to focus on building at least one character of every element. Because if you build one character of every element, then that's great, but if they don't actually work together, if they don't actually synergize together, then what are you doing? And if you don't think this is a real thing, just take a look at Twitter with new Genshin players. Just take a look at Hoyo Lab. This is a real thing that lots of people make the mistake of doing. Number 4, the game is easy. For players that are very good at the game, yes, the game is easy. For players that know a lot about the game, yes, the game is easy. There are so many systems in the game that for a new player who's never experienced before, like the artifact system, all these different stats, how they roll into random stats, talents, constellation, different types of weapons with main stats and substats and refinements, and so many different types of weapons, so many different types of characters. The characters do different things. Some are on field, some are off field. It is completely overwhelming to the vast majority of players, and they do not ever spend the time, like just the fact that you're watching this, like I'm kind of preaching to the choir. You're obviously seeking out information to learn about the game, but for people who don't learn about the game, it is very difficult just to get that baseline knowledge. And even once you do, it can actually be somewhat challenging to properly build out your account and not farm too much artifacts, to not farm too little artifacts, to make sure that you're doing the right talents on the right characters, on the right teams, not spreading yourself too thin, not spreading yourself too narrow, building teams that synergize with each other, using teams that synergize with each other, actually playing the teams well, making sure you have enough energy recharge. There's a ton of ways that you can fall off and miss the boat and just not play the game well, and the game becomes very hard as soon as you don't play it like that. The amount of accounts that I have gone on and just like switched some weapons around, switched some artifacts around, switched some teams around, and all of a sudden, bam, their account goes from not being able to 36 star to being able to 36 star. Just imagine what it's like for the casuals out there. So no, I don't believe the game is easy. You're just very hardcore, and a lot more hardcore than you think you are. Kind of related, and not moving into the next, so I'm going to keep it within the same bubble, is that spending money either makes the game more fun, or that it ruins the game. I think the real true answer is that it depends. For me, I have the most fun in two ways. I really like how I'm playing now, which I set a restriction for myself that I can't get any 5-star constellations. I can only get C0 of every character, and then I do get some 5-star weapons to test them. I find this restriction very fun. I also think it's really fun to just buy the battle pass and just buy the Welcome Moon, so you at least are not starved for resources. You can have fun building and experimenting characters without being too restricted. I also think it's fun to just be an occasional Welcome player. I also think it's fun to just be a free-to-play player. I am not so sure if I agree that it's fun to be a whale. I think it's fun for a certain type of person. I like a bit of a challenge, so when the game gets too easy, I personally don't find it fun. That's why I don't cover any whale stuff on this account, but I know a lot of people do have fun with it, as well as I know a lot of people who kind of wish they could undo those constellations, that the game is sort of now too easy, but I know a lot of people who do still have fun with it. So it also costs really a lot of money to whale, and there's no way to undo it. So I don't think that spending on the game makes it more fun. I don't think not spending on the game makes it more fun. I think you have to sort of define how you have fun. I would start by not spending money, maybe getting the occasional Welcome, the occasional battle pass, not doing any top-ups. I think that's probably the sweet spot for most people, but I think sticking for free to play is a really good way to give yourself that challenge. But I do find it fun to get a few more characters with the Welcome and a few more resources so that I can have variety in my testing. Before we go into number 5, I want to do an honorable mention, which is something that I've seen pop up on a few videos and on a few subreddits and different things like that, and it's that the new commission system is bad. What? This new commission system is the greatest thing in the world. I don't ever have to do commissions again. I can actually play the game. I don't have to log in and do chores before I get to do the fun thing. I can actually log in and explore. I can log in and, well, the events are still kind of a chore, but when I do the events, I also get commission points. I can log in and I can do my backlog of quests and hangout quests and world quests, and I get commission points. I can play the game right away instead of having to do chores first and then play the game. Oh my goodness. Now, I do understand for people who are like extremely hardcore and extremely completionist, they've already done those things. They've already done the events day one. They've already 100%ed exploring the map. They've already caught up with all their backlog. Well, they don't have a backlog of quests. They do them all right away. And for those people, I can understand it's like you're kind of being punished for already doing that stuff and that you still have to do your commissions. I get that. But this is kind of like, I don't know if it's like justice in a way. No, that's too mean. It's like Genshin truly is catered to the casual player. And if you're the kind of person that 100%s a map and that keeps up with all your quests, you are not a casual player. You're a hardcore player. And you may not be a hardcore meta player, but you're a hardcore player nonetheless. And Genshin, they seem to have this philosophy where they do things to get the casual players to move towards being more hardcore. Because they're like, hardcore people, they're already hardcore. They love the game. We don't need to do anything to please them. Not saying that's right. Not saying that's what they should do, but that's how they see it. They're like people who care about the Abyss. They care about the meta. They care about they're already good. We don't have to do anything to please them. And people that already 100% the map, they 100% all the story quests, they're already good. We don't have to do anything to please them. It's these people that are lagging, that are behind, that are not doing the quest, that are not exploring. They're the ones that this is for, like me. They're the ones that need, you know, extra incentive. Can't remember where it was, but when you do the Archon quests, that you get extra wishes for doing the Archon quests. They need, like, some of my friends, they don't play the Archon quests, but then they started doing the Archon quests when they added wishes in because they needed more wishes. So they're trying to do things for the casual player and to move them towards being more hardcore, or to make those people happier with the game, rather than like my wife, who doesn't have tons of time to do commissions and events and whatever. So they created this system to allow people like that to do both at the same time, and I'm all for it. The final misconception that I want to address, the final myth, is that X character, whoever that may be, is good, or that X character is bad, or that X character is mid. And this is, it's kind of a cheating one, because it's sort of just directed everyone. I'm just like taking the easy way out. I'm just saying everyone's wrong. But it's kind of true, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone. When I say that, you know, Liney is worse than Hu Tao, it's like, even if that's true, is it really true? Like, it's true in my opinion, it's true in my testing, but oftentimes even myself or other people will speak about these things as if they're fact, or like, you know, Xingqiu's the best character in the game, or Fischl's the best character in the game, or Yelan's the best character in the game, Kazua's the best character in the game, Nahida's the best character in the game. It's so subjective, and it's so dependent on what's going on in the Abyss, what other new characters are out. What you need to do is not determine which character is strongest. I like determining which character is strongest. I like having that subjective opinion. I always call it, I like to roll marbles down a track and see which marble comes up fastest. I'm like this guy. If you haven't watched Fabeka's marble runs, this is like literally me with Genshin. They literally have marbles representing different countries. They race them down a track, all to determine which marble is the best, which marble is king, which marble is world championship. Like, it doesn't matter, you guys. It doesn't. And meta in Genshin Impact is like that. It doesn't matter. There's no cash prizes. There's no leaderboards. Those of us that like meta, we just find this fun. And our subjective opinion is so wrong. Like, my subjective opinion is that Raiden is a lot better than she probably is for most people, because I've played her so much, because I've invested so much into her. I have this inherent bias towards Raiden because of that. I have an inherent bias towards Nilou, for example. And that's okay. It's okay for you to have your biases. It's okay for other people to have your biases. It's fun. This is where I would make the distinction, and this is where I want to talk about this myth, is that it's fun to talk about meta and talk about which characters are better and worse, but you should never make your pull decisions or your build decisions based on meta, unless I suppose you just find it fun to play only the strongest teams, and that's really truly where you find the most fun, in which case have at her. Hopefully I communicated that clearly enough. It's a little bit of a nuanced discussion. Let me know if that made sense. If you do find that kind of thing fun, you can check out my tier list. It's a little bit outdated. There's a bunch of things that I would change, so don't take it too seriously. I'll link it in the cards at the end. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. If you want to join, it would be very much appreciated. It really helps us out. If you want to join a great community and talk about your favorite characters, talk about meta for fun, or avoid meta entirely and talk about other stuff, check out my Discord linked in the description. And if you don't want to do anything, it's fine. Just watching the video has been more than enough. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
The third anniversary for Genshin is upon us, and I thought this would be a great time to review every single one of my units. I've built and tested the majority of the characters in the game, and I wanted to go through for you my very subjective opinion, whereas if I were to start my account again, who would I actually build and who would I skip? Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. Now keep in mind, this is very specifically not a recommendation on how you should build. This is just my one man's very subjective account. I've played it for just under 2 years, and it's been my goal to build and test every single character at the free-to-play level. I call my account simulated free-to-play because I spend just enough money that it takes to get every single character, the occasional 5-star weapon here and there, but I don't go for 5-star constellations, and I just test at a free-to-play level. So let's get started. Obviously, Fremine, I haven't built him yet, and the characters that I haven't built yet, it's because if this was my account, it's the ones that I haven't got to yet. So we're gonna go through. We're just gonna quickly put the ones that I haven't got to yet into the skip column. This is not to say that, again, you shouldn't build these characters. I strongly believe in building around your favorites. You choose your favorite characters, and then you build out your account based on the characters that support your favorites. So you can build amazing teams using your favorite characters. Every single character in the game is worth building if they're your favorites, and so you shouldn't let this, you shouldn't let this tell you who you should or shouldn't build. I'm gonna give my reasoning for why I would build each character again, so it might inspire you to build a character you might have thought of again. So, you might not have thought of, or something like that. So, but yeah, Fremine, I wouldn't build him just because physical DPS. Maybe he's not my favorite playstyle. Claymores aren't my favorite. I just wouldn't build him. Ning Wong, similar thing. Actually, I would build Ning Wong. Now that I have Zhongli, I would build Ning Wong, and even though I haven't built her yet, I'm gonna put her in my build again because I just think that she's so pretty with this skin, and she looks amazing, and I think Ning Wong double hydro is gonna slap. So I would build Ning Wong again, even though I haven't built her yet. Yeah. For Kale, she's gonna go into the skip just because there's so many good Dendro characters, and I just can never find a place to actually use her. It's not that she's bad, she's actually quite decent in Aggravate, and she's so cute. I can't wait to actually properly build her and test her, but just because of that, there's so many characters. Lisa, same thing. I really like her. I really like her playstyle. There's just so many good Electro, Aggravate, on-field characters that I just can't quite justify it. Sayu, again, I would skip. So many good Anemo characters, need that grouping. Child, similar thing. My wife does play him, and I do think he's really fun. I do think he's great and very, very strong, but not for me. Jin Yan, another character. There's so many better Pyro characters. Noelle, the Claymore playstyle, just not my very favorite. And Aloy, again, so many crowd characters that do off-field damage. Probably wouldn't. Goro, for now, he's going to be in the skip not build, mostly because there's no on-field character that I really like. Ito's not my favorite character of all time. Same with Albedo. So Goro, like, actually, to be fair, Albedo I do really like. I really do like Albedo in terms of lore and design and things like that, and I would build him if there was the right synergy around him. Like, maybe if Navia is a defense scaler and she wants to use Goro and Albedo, then I would. But as it is, the only on-field Geo character is Ito, and I've been not the biggest fan of his design. We're also going to throw Dory down here, Hazo, Mika, and I think that's it for these characters. Oh, maybe Amber, just because, again, so many Pyro characters. Okay, now we're starting to get into the characters that I actually have. Those are all the characters that I currently have not built. Now let's get into the characters that I have built. Novelette. If I got him for free, I would build him, but I don't think I would allocate my resources to him specifically, just because I already have so many Hydro characters. There's so many Hydro characters I like, and I like more than Nouvelette, but I do think he's very strong if you're gonna go get him, and if you're gonna, I think that he's very much worth it. I don't see him, this tier list hasn't been updated with him yet. That's okay. Shang Ling, this is a character I would build again, even though she's not my very favorite of all time. She enables so many characters such as Dea, such as Raiden, that I would definitely have to build her again, because there's just no other option for an off-field Pyro DPS like she is. She's fantastic. I would build her again in a heartbeat. For Kirara, I'm really on the fence with this one. I like Kirara's design. I think post C4 I would build her, but pre C4 I wouldn't. I feel like I just always end up using Baiju. I just use Baiju so much more than Kirara. I do really like her. I like her strong shield. I like her buffing, especially with the Sapwood Blade, especially with instructors. I really do like how much buffing she can give to the team. I'm so torn. I guess I'm gonna leave her in the not build because Baiju is just so comfy for Aggravate. It's sad. I really like her. I really like her design though. Kujo Sara, I'm a total Raiden simp, so absolutely would build Kujo Sara again. I don't yet have her C6, so I haven't really tested her all that much because she you know, she needs her C6 to be properly good, but I'll definitely be getting her C6 in the next rerun, and she's all leveled up. She's ready to go. She's ready to support Raiden as soon as I get her at C6. For Beto, now Beto is a character that I really think is very strong. I think she's very strong in AoE. I think she's very strong in Aggravate with Sucrose as a driver, but I wouldn't build her again. And the reason why is because she currently doesn't have any optimal teams with the characters that I really, really like using. And so I just very rarely find myself using Beto. She has an amazing kit. She's super good. I think that it's possible that there's a world where a future character really, really enables her extra well. Maybe an on-field electro driver like Clorand or something. It almost seemed like Sino would be the character that would work really well with Beto, but it seems like she's not going to enter his overall best team. It's not a fault of her own. It's just that other characters don't seem to perfectly synergize with her in a way that she's like the optimal choice in the teams that I like to play anyways. Kaya is going to be another skip for me, just because I have Shenhe, I have Rosaria. What do I need Kaya for, right? They're very, very similar characters. I think you can choose any of them, Chongyun, Kaya, Rosaria, and they're all going to perform well, but Kaya for me is one that I would not build. You have limited resources in the game. You can only build so many characters. Kaya is one I would skip. Chongyun is one I would skip. Diona is one I would also skip. I think that Layla is basically just better than Diona in every single way, so I wouldn't build Diona. If you already have built Diona, then I get not building Layla, but Layla, I know she gives the 200 EM, but I think Layla's C4 is much more valuable than that, so and I think the stronger shield is more valuable, so I would build Layla. I would not build Diona. Rosaria is a character I would build again. I would even slightly consider not building Ayaka and just cracking out a Rosaria for both for freeze and for reverse melt and getting Shenhe and supporting Rosaria that way. I love Rosaria's design. I love her playstyle. I love her voice lines. I love the sound effects. She just feels so satisfying to play. I would build her again in a heartbeat. Even if she's a little redundant for my account, I would still build her again. I'm really torn about Farazan. I'm really, really torn because I really do like her. I think I would target her down, and as a low spender or free-to-play player, I would eventually target down her C6. It probably would not be very soon into my account, but it'd be late into my account. I would aim for Farazan. I would aim for a Zhao, and this is a team that I would eventually go for because I do really love her kit. I love her power. I love her functionality. I love Zhao as well. Even though I don't have him yet, these are characters that I would target down again. I know that she's not very free to play friendly, but I kind of like that she is not. It's not that there's something enticing to me about a character that's hard to get, that's hard to work towards, and I would feel very gratified eventually getting my C6 Farazan, working towards that. And yeah, Lynette is interesting. She's a character that if I started a new account now, I would build her, but if I was starting like from the beginning of the game, then I wouldn't build her. So I'm not really sure. It's like it depends on the state of my account at the time. Assuming that I was starting to play, I don't know, I'm gonna put her down here for now because I feel like there's just so many good Animo characters that I probably wouldn't build her. But maybe I would. I don't know. We'll pretend I'm a new player starting the game now, and so I'll put her up here. This is not advice to new players, like, right? It's not smart to go for Farazan C6 as a free-to-play player and to go for Zhao and Farazan. It's not a smart combination. It's just what I would end up doing. Yunjin is a character I would end up building again. I love Yoimiya, and although I do prefer Yoimiya, Yelan Bennett Kazuha, I do really like the Yunjin Zhongli variant for those times where you have really aggressive enemies. So I would build Yunjin again for my Yoimiya team. Diluc, I got his skin, I got his weapon, and I built him up with pretty good artifacts, and I'm just not impressed with his damage in the slightest. I don't really like him at all. I would not build him again. Unfortunately, I really love his design. It's too bad. He's one of the male characters that I was really, really excited to build, and I just feel like, you know, his outfit's so sick. I have his signature weapon, and I'm so happy, but I'm also so, like, I don't know. The damage just isn't there. Klee is a character that I'm not disappointed in terms of damage, but I just don't find her playstyle particularly fun or powerful enough. And, you know, her design, she's very cute, but she's not my style, so I would not build Klee. Dea, however, this may surprise some people. She shouldn't be using this. She can use Akumaru. But she is a character that I would build again. Assuming I lost my 50-50 to her, the standard banner, I like Dea a lot. Even though she's not a particularly good character, I would build her as a defensive support, but also I'd build her as an on-fielder DPS for Mono Pyro and as a Zhangling driver. So I would build Dea again. I just love her animations. I love her character design. She's one of my favorite characters, and I would definitely build her again. I hope that Farina can buff her. I do believe that she will, and I would definitely build Dea again, 100%. No, she's not strong, but she is strong enough. Baiju, but believe it or not, even though he's not my favoritely designed character, I would wish for and build Baiju again. It's just so valuable to have a character like this, both for Nilou teams and for Aggravate teams, and even for Hyperbloom teams as an on-fielder. He's really, really good. He's very underrated, I think. I think he's the best out of the defensive healers. I think he's better than Zhongli. I think he's better than Kokomi. I think Baiju is a really, really, really good character. Chi-Chi is not a character I would build again, unfortunately. She was good for me for the early game, for fighting Ajdaha, for stuff like that. She's a decent early game build just to help you survive, but she's not someone that I would build starting again. Ganyu is my personal most regretted character. It's not that I think she's weak, but I don't like how she plays on mobile or on controller, and I just don't enjoy playing on PC at all. I've seen some sick clears on PC with those cancels and stuff like that, but she's a character that I would not build or wish for again. For Eula, also would not wish for and build Eula again. I just find her quite underwhelming. I pray that we get an off-field physical damage dealer that can also provide utility to Eula, like battery or something like that she can have an off-field damage dealer. I really think it could improve her teams, and I really, really hope that that comes, but in her current state, I would not wish for her again, unfortunately. Shenhe, I 100% would wish for again. Whether or not I had Ayaka, if I didn't go for Ayaka, I would go for Rosaria and do Shenhe, Rosaria, Xingqiu, or something like that, or Kokomi, or whoever. I would get Shenhe 100%. If I was getting Ayaka, even more so, but I would get Shenhe regardless. I love her design so much. She's one of my most favorite design characters. She's one of the few characters I wished for her 5-star weapon for, and I love Shenhe. She's really good and one of my favorites. Zhongli, definitely would get Zhongli again, 100%. He's just too useful and valuable for when there's aggressive enemies, when there's Zhao, when you want to use Zhao with a defensive option. Yoimiya, 100% would get Zhongli again. Hu Tao as well. Bennett, I mean, is it any question? No question I would build Bennett again. He just enables so many of my favorite characters. I don't even have a choice. Toma, not a character I would build again. I do really like his Burgeon teams, but I like Hyperbloom and Nilou Bloom more, and I think that he's a great build. I just 36-starred with Toma on my wife's account. It was her very first 36-star ever. That was a super fun stream I did with my wife. You can check it out if you want. So I don't think I think he's a great character. I think he's really, really good, but because I would plan on getting Zhongli, I would not need him for the shield bot, and because I plan on getting Kuki, I would not plan on needing, and Kuki and Nilou, I don't plan on using him for Burgeon, so I would not build him again. Barbara, this is interesting. Because I do like her a lot on my Nilou teams, but now that I have Kokomi, I think I would go for Kokomi and opt to not build Barbara, just because I do like Kokomi's flexibility both for freeze and for Nilou teams. So I think that I would neglect Barbara in favor of building Kokomi instead. Xingqiu, definitely a character that I would build again. I do prefer Yelan, but Xingqiu's defensive utility is absolutely excellent, and using them both together or on either side of the abyss is super, super valuable. No question about it, I would build Xingqiu again. Candace, believe it or not, I would build Candace again. It's not that I think Candace is a crazy strong character. I probably overrated her on my last tier list. Either that or I underrated Barbara, one or the two. Totally agree. But I would build her again just because she's so cool, and I love her in Nilou teams. And once she gets her C6, she has a bit more flexibility. But even before that, I would build Candace again just for Nilou because I love Candace, right? She's a character that's not, you know, as good as other characters. She's not necessarily a valuable character, but she is a decently strong character. She's strong enough to use, and because I love her design so much, I would absolutely build her again. Yao Yao is a character I would build again just for Candace. Because she's the best enabler for Candace to have a good team with Nilou. So I would build Yao Yao again. I would build Candace again. I do endorse and like this team a lot. Kaveh is probably one of my most regretted builds. Not that I wouldn't build him again for this account because I have to build and test every single character, but he just is so underwhelming compared to so many other characters. I think he has a chance of working with the Archon, but as is right now, he's a character that I just can't quite get behind. Maybe when I get some more constellations, I'll feel better. I haven't actually tested him since I got any constellations for him. I first tested C0, so I'll definitely test him again eventually, and hopefully I like him more then. For Razor, I built Razor specifically for his Thundering Fury or his Burgeon teams. I wouldn't do it again just because he takes so many valuable units. being Nahida, Bennett, and Sing Cho, and overall performance is just not really better than a Hyper Bloom team. It is a little bit better in AoE, but I personally just, the circle impact is also annoying, and I just, it's expensive to take a character to 90, and so I just probably wouldn't build Razor again. Fischl, absolutely would build Fischl again in a heartbeat. She is so versatile. She works with so many characters, and so many of my favorite characters, so I love Fischl. Aggravate's my favorite playstyle for her, but yeah. Kuki, I love Kuki. Kuki, I was so happy when she worked with Hyper Bloom, and she is the best for Hyper Bloom. I mean, obviously Raiden is technically better, but if you need a healer on that team, then Kuki is absolutely fantastic, and I would build her again in a heartbeat, no question about it. Sucrose, this might be a very hot take. Sucrose is a character I would not build again. And I know this is crazy, I know this is wild, I know this is sacrilegious, but I would find myself not needing an Animo grouper on both sides. And for my one Animo grouper that I need, if I did need two, I would get Venti, and I would get Venti if I tried again and I got a new account, because Venti works so well for domains and for earlier floors of the Abyss and just the quality of life. And if I do want two groupers, Venti and Kazuo would be my choices. And I know that you can, do some AI manipulation and use her skills and use her burst properly and do some good grouping with Sucrose, but I don't find it fun. I don't find it fun to use her on field. I find her not fun to use, and not like a good, I just don't like it. I know technically she's good and the EM sharing is very good, but she's not a character that I would build again. Hu Tao, this is tough because Hu Tao and Yoimiya are such similar characters, and now that I've built it and tested both, I unequivocally think that Hu Tao is always the better character, but I have a hard time seeing a world where I don't build Yoimiya and I don't build Hu Tao. I love them both so much. Honestly, I would get her again, and I would get Yoimiya again. It's the stupidest thing in the world. There's no reason to get both. They overlap so heavily, but I would. I love them both. I would get Hu Tao at C1 R1 and Hu Tao and Yoimiya at C0 with the rest. And I'd use Yoimiya in the overworld like I always do. I use Yoimiya so much. I use Yoimiya so much. I use her every single day in the overworld. There's no way I would give her up. I just find her so smooth and intuitive for the overworld. And Hu Tao, I use her so often in the Abyss, and I find her so much fun to play. So I would definitely get both of these characters again, even though it's completely stupid. There's no reason to do that. For a Dendro main character, for a main character in general, I would not build the main character again. At the time, it was totally worth it because Nahida wasn't out yet. But now, if I had to do it all over again, I would not build these two because I would just rather build just other Dendro characters like Nahida and Baiju instead. And their other forms are really not quite worth building for me. Kokomi, I would build Kokomi. I would wish for and build Kokomi again. She's too good in Ayaka. She's too good in Nilou Bloom. 100% would I get Kokomi again. I don't like her as much as some people. I think she's a little bit overrated, and we've talked about this a little bit. I think she's very flexible and versatile, but I think she's not the optimal choice in anything except for Kokomi and Nilou Bloom, and I like to play optimally. That's just how I like to play, so I'm biased that way, but I still would get her. She's good enough in those two teams that I would 100% get her again. Ayato is honestly one of the characters that I regret getting the most, from the perspective of I wished for him for myself to try out different teams like Freeze and Taser and different teams like that, and I find him jack of all trades, master of none. I just don't like that playstyle too much. I prefer getting characters that max out a certain archetype, and that's what I find the most fun. And Ayato, although he's very flexible, like he's an on-fielder and he's not like my favorite character, right? Like if he's your favorite character, I think he's an amazing pickup because he's so versatile. But because he's not my favorite character, there's other characters that I will just end up picking, and I pretty much never end up picking Ayato anymore. Mona, I can't say because I never got her, and she's a standard banner character, and I can't choose. If I got her, would I build her? Honestly, probably not, but I love her so much that I would. I probably would, just because I love her design so much, and I've always wanted Mona. So I would build her if I got her again. For Nilou, 100% I would build her. I would get her. I would get her the key. I might not get the key because now I have the Dockhands assistant at R4. I might not get the key, but if I redid my account, I 100% would get Nilou again. Tighnari, would I build her? Him, not quite. I don't think so, because I just prefer other characters to Tighnari. But actually, even more than that, I just find him too single target locked. I do think he's really nice with Yaimiko, but I prefer Yaimiko with Fischl and Baiju instead. So I probably wouldn't build Tighnari, but I think he's a great I think he's a great character. I think he's really fun. I think he's really strong in single target. He's actually quite flexible as well. I've used him even as the Dendro applicator and sub DPS for my Kaching team, which I actually liked. So I think that he's a good pickup and he's a good character, but I probably wouldn't build him again. Nahida, no question, way too good with Nilu, way too good with Hyper Bloom. Just way too good of a character. Alhaitham, I actually wouldn't get him or build him again. Although I do like him, although I do think he's strong, I think he's the ceiling for Hyper Bloom teams. I think his spread teams are great. I'm just fine with double Hydro or single Hydro with Fischl. I would prefer to just skip out and save for someone else. Yeah, that's how I feel about Alhaitham. For Kaching, I would definitely build Kaching again. She's my very first 5-star. I love her playstyle. I would 100% get her again. Absolutely. Aggravate for the win. Yaimiko. Oh, she was using a level 1 weapon in my Abyss run. That explains some things. That explains some things. I would get Yaimiko again, both for Aggravate and for Raiden Yai. I love Raiden Yai. I use it every single Abyss. There's no way I could go without it. Sino, this is gonna be an unexpected take, but I would get Sino again. I love Sino. I love his transformation, his mask. Reminds me of Animorphs. Yeah, if anyone remembers Animorphs, like Power Rangers and stuff turning into that. I love that. I love that so much. Similar to Zhao, I love his burst transformation. I find him really fun. It's unfortunate he doesn't work better in multi-wave content than he does, but regardless, I really like Sino. Ayaka, I don't think I'd be able to stop myself from getting Ayaka again. She's way too cute. I love the samurai vibe. She's super good. Jean, I might eat my words when it comes to Farina. Farina might be buffing Jean, but for now, I'm gonna put Jean in not building again. I wish I'm wrong. I hope Farina buffs Jean enough that I would build her again, but for now I'm gonna leave her here. Kazuha, I mean, is it even a question? I would absolutely build Kazuha again. Oh, Yanfei, I didn't build her. I wouldn't build her again. But yeah, Kazuha just enables way too many teams. All my favorite teams use Kazuha. Have to use them again. But yeah, I forgot to talk about Yanfei. I wouldn't use her as an on-fielder because I already have Yaimiya and Hu Tao, and I wouldn't use her as a shielder because I already have Zhongli, and then I have Dea for that pyro defensive utility, so probably wouldn't build Yanfei. For Linny, I do like Linny. I like him more than I thought I would, but I would not get him again just because there's so many. I would just rather use Dea on fielder, to be honest. Rather than getting Linny, I'd rather get maybe Dea, her weapon or something, if it ever comes back for that mono pyro. And I think Linny's great. I think he's really, really strong. One of the strongest carries in the game, but he's not my absolute favorite. So for Wanderer, I would not get him again. And to finish off my very favorite characters, Yelan and Raiden, I mean, they're my favorite characters. I would get them again in a heartbeat, and I would build them again. So as you can see, I still would build quite the number of characters, and not all of them are meta picks, right? Even like characters like Candace and Yao Yao, it's not like I only want to play meta picks, but for me to really pick a non-meta character, they have to be my favorite. And then, so like Yoimiya, I would pick in a heartbeat. Dea, Candace, like I think it's worth building your favorite characters regardless of whether they're meta or not, and then getting those meta characters to support your favorites as best you can, and then not touching the characters that you don't care about and that don't support yours. Let me know.
Why is it so hard to buy chips nowadays? Party size, family size, giant size? Why is family bigger than a party? What kind of sad parties are people having? What kind of massive families do people have? I just want Cool Ranch. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, the party size show for the whole family. Now, I'm gonna level with you. Every time I go to the supermarket and I walk up and down the aisles, I get really overwhelmed with all the different sizes I see. You got your regular, your party sizes, family sizes, giant sizes, and even sharing sizes, which are new to me, and I never know which one to actually buy. I honestly just end up resorting to the largest one because, let's face it, I'm gonna end up eating that entire bad boy by myself anyway. But I've always wondered which one is better for my wallet, because they're supposed to be more cost effective, a better bang for your buck. But are they actually? The boxes may be bigger, but despite that size, when we open them up and see what's inside, will there actually be enough of a difference to be worth it? So today, we have 5 different categories of food, the 5 C's: cereals, cookies, crackers, chips, and candy, all with different sizes ranging from itty-bitty snack sizes to comically large. And my objective is to figure out which size within each category you should be buying, and whether across all of them, the large size is worth it overall. In order to do that, we're going to be doing 3 things. First, we got to measure out how much of each food comes in each package to see if what they say they bring is how much food they actually do. Second, based on the weight, figure out how much you're paying for a serving size of each product. And finally, comparing the different prices to see which one is truly the most bang for your buck. So let's get started with cereal. Now, what you'll notice is that Frosted Flakes has regular, large size, and giant size. And every single other package, like I mentioned, uses a different name. So for ease of everything and to cause less of a headache, we're just gonna go with small, medium, and large. I realized I didn't show you what the other packages were named, and then it hit me. While people are throwing stuff at me, if you want to throw me the Oreos, Ash. Yeah, oh yeah. There we go. Why are you throwing everything at... Why? You get the point. We're doing away with all the naming conventions on the boxes, and we'll just call them small, medium, and large. Easy enough. Now please stop throwing things at me, Ash. Immediately after taking the bags out of the boxes, I noticed the huge difference visually between the large and small size. Even large and medium had quite a big difference, but medium and small looked almost the same, at least to the naked eye. The other alarming thing about the medium size was that the bottom of the bag was shattered to bits, completely dust. The flakes in the small bag were almost completely intact, but the large size was even worse. Look at all that dust at the bottom. It's just like pulverized sugar and frosted flakes. The large size is not much better. Look at that, the amount of dust. It looks pretty bad. And it's even worse now. With the visuals out of the way, it was time to get some measurements. But even that wasn't gonna be easy. Yeah, it was gonna be a long day. This is gonna happen. We got this. Welcome to my show, everybody. Everything's great since Matt left. I'm fine, I swear. And I'm gonna get a little mushy here for a second before we keep going, but bear with me. Even when I'm losing my mind a bit, measuring cereals or making clear burgers, it's all worth it knowing that you're here along for the ride and having a good time. For those of you who've been here for a while, thank you for all the support that you've given me and the entire team over the last few months. It truly means the world to all of us. And if you're watching for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the fun stuff we have coming down the pipeline. I promise you don't want to miss it. Plus, now the subscribe button does that cool little woo thingy when you press it. It's like it's having its own little party. Speaking of which, measuring out the weights for Frosted Flakes gave a pretty consistent result across the board. What's advertised on the box is really almost exactly what comes inside. That was absolutely not the case for the other two cereals in the category. But as I started measuring the Cheerios, I noticed something interesting on the boxes. One thing that you can't see on camera now, but it's really funny, the front side of this has like all the warnings and the red text of like, oh, this has like this amount of sugar, whatever. But the back side, the Spanish side, has none of that. It's just like, go for it, dude. Whatever. Share it with Abuelita, you're good. And I decided to do just that.